Okay with that. So welcome everybody again. Today, 17th Jan 2021. We continue our reading of the book Silence by Thich Nhat Hanh. It's not a promotion of the book. It's not promotion of the content. We just use this as a launch pad to try right here in the session if this works for us or not. And then we share our experience from that practice. So as always, before we get started, let's take 1 minute to arrive mindfully to the session. So I will put a timer of 1 minute and we practice our I am here, I am free, and I hear you. So exhale as much as you can and find a comfortable position. Keep your eyes closed or low focused. And then we get started. So with first few breaths, I tell myself, I'm here. Then I tell myself, I'm free. Free from the past, free from the anxiety of futures. In the here and now, I'm completely free. And I hear you. And we slowly open our eyes and arrive fully back to the session. And while we do that, we look around the space where we are sitting in physically, and then we look internally the space where our mind is sitting in. So let's just feel the space completely where we are here. So we continue our reading on sense impressions. So the author says, sensory food is what we take in with our senses and our mind. Everything we see, smell, touch, taste, and hear. External noise falls into this category, such as conversations, entertainment, and music. What we read and the information we absorb is also sensory food. Perhaps even more than the edible food, the sensory food we consume affects how we feel. We may pick up a magazine or go on the internet, looking at the pictures and listening to music. We want to connect and be informed. We want to enjoy ourselves. These are fine reasons to consume sensory food. But often, our real purpose in those moments is simply to run away from ourselves and cover up the suffering inside. When we listen to music, read a book, or pick up a newspaper, it's usually not because we truly need that activity or information. We often do it mechanically, perhaps because we are used to doing it, or we want to kill time and fill up the discomforting sense of empty space. We may do it to avoid encountering ourselves. Many of us are afraid of going home to ourselves because we don't know how to handle the suffering inside us. That's why we are always reaching for more and more sense impressions to consume. Many of us are afraid of going home to ourselves because we don't know how to handle the suffering inside. And the way we do it is, that's why we are always reaching out for more and more sense impressions to consume. We are what we feel and perceive. If we are angry, we are the anger. If we are in love, we are the love. If we are looking at the snowy mountain peak, we are the mountain. While dreaming, we are the dream. Anything anybody wants to say for what we read so far? This is what we had read last time. Any thoughts? Anything that you want to say? Anything that you want me to read again? Yeah. So then I'll continue ahead. A teenager recently confessed to me that he spends at least 8 hours a day playing video games. He can't stop. In the beginning, he took to games in order to forget that he wasn't feeling good about life, that he didn't feel understood in his family, school, and community. That is why he started with the video game. Now he is addicted to them. He thinks about video games all the time, even in the moments he isn't playing them. He's thinking about it. Many of us can relate to some version of this, trying to fill up the loneliness and the emptiness inside us with sense impressions. Our senses are our windows to the outside world. Our senses are our windows to the outside world. Many of us leave our windows open all the time, allowing the sights and the sounds of the world to invade us, penetrate us, and compound the suffering in our sad, troubled selves. Let me read that again. Our senses are our windows to the outside world. Many of us leave our windows open all the time, allowing the sights and the sound of the world to invade us, penetrate us, and compound the suffering in our sad and troubled self. We feel terribly cold and lonely and afraid. Do you ever find yourself watching an awful Do you ever find yourself watching an awful TV program, unable to turn it off? The ruckus noises and the explosions of gunfire are upsetting, yet you don't get up and turn it off. Why do you torture yourself in this way? The author asks. Don't you want to give yourself some relief and close your sense windows? Are you afraid of solitude, of the emptiness and the loneliness you may find when you face yourself alone? Watching a bad TV program, we are the TV program. We can be anything we want, even without a magic wand. So why do we open our windows to a bad movie or TV programs? Movies made by sensationalist producer in search of easy money, movies that make our hearts pound, our fists tighten, and that send us back into the streets exhausted. I think that line again, continuing on what Piyush was saying, it's a very watching a bad TV program, we are the TV program, right? So very, very powerful thing there. Conversation is also sensory food. Suppose you talk to a person who is full of bitterness, envy, or craving. During the conversation, you take in that person's energy of despair. In truth, much of the sensory food we consume makes us feel worse instead of better. Most of the sensory food that we take in makes us feel worse instead of making us feel better. And we could be anything we want because it's in our head, right? We could be that nice snowy mountain. We are that bad TV program. We find ourselves thinking more and more that we are not enough, that we need to buy something or change something in ourselves to make ourselves better. We are not enough, that we need to buy something or change something in ourselves to make ourselves better. How many of us are here to try and change ourselves? Right? All of us, right? Look at the irony of what he's saying and what we are doing, right? But we can always make the choice to protect our peace. That doesn't mean shutting all our windows all of the time. For there are many miracles in the world we call outside. So the answer is not shutting down, not doing anything, because there are miracles out there. Open your windows to these miracles, but look at any one of them with the light of awareness. Even while sitting beside a clear flowing stream, listening to a beautiful music, or watching an excellent movie, don't entrust yourself entirely to the stream, the music, or the film, or the session. Don't entrust yourself entirely to it, even if it is good. Continue to be aware of yourself and your breathing. So while you are listening this, are we, or while Jamin is reading it, am I aware of myself and my breathing when I'm reading this or when you're listening to this? It's not about that 5 minutes. With the sun of awareness shining in you, you can avoid most dangers and you will experience the stream being purer, the music more harmonious, and the soul of the artist completely visible in the film, or the intent of this group being together much more real. Right? Continue to be aware of yourself and your breathing. Don't entrust the sensory inputs, not even this. I think that's where the sense impression ends, and then the volition starts. So that maybe we read next time. But anything that anybody wants to say or add to what we read today?
Jamin, can you repeat that entrance line again?
Yes, yes. I will start a little before so that the context sets. So that doesn't mean shutting all our windows all of the time, for there are many miracles in the world we call outside. Open your windows to these miracles, but look at any one of them with light of awareness. Even while sitting beside a clear flowing stream, listening to a beautiful music, or watching an excellent movie, don't entrust yourself entirely to the stream, the music, or the film. Continue to be aware of yourself and your breathing. The backdrop should always be on. Yeah. Continue to be aware of yourself and your breathing. With the sun of awareness shining in you, you can avoid most dangers. And you will experience then the stream being purer, the music being more harmonious, and the soul of the artist completely visible in that film then. So while you're listening to this, be aware of yourself, be still aware of your breathing. It's not when the timer starts. Right? And I think this is where in the edible food also he said, the three things he said always, right? And we touched that maybe the third part is more powerful. So what you eat, how much you eat, and are you aware while consuming it? So I think he comes back full circle to awareness and ties the simple practice of just being aware of your breath to bring in that awareness always. You are breathing now, aren't you? See yourself breathing now, that one breath. That's it. You come home to awareness with that breath. He says it's that simple. Any comments? Any points from anybody else?
Yeah, I think I can relate it with what the author is saying. So I think when we are like consuming information, we are trying to distract ourselves, and we are like completely into that zone now. We are not aware about like why I'm trying to do that. So that awareness is not there. We are just trying to do something else. Okay, let me do something else.
Yeah. Because we are, what he's saying is maybe we are afraid to face ourselves in that
Yeah.
loneliness without any sound, without any music, without complete silence. Can I be with myself? That's hard, maybe. We don't want to do that, right? We don't want to do that. Anything else from anybody else? Yeah, sorry, Naman, if you wanted to say more, please.
No, no.
Piyush, you are on
Yeah,
mute.
Piyush, you're mute.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, couple of things from my side. One an observation and one is a question. So I'll go with the observation first regarding that movie. That if you're seeing a movie, you are the movie, right? So just an example. I mean, if you go out to see a movie with a friend or maybe more than one people, then after you come out when the movie ends, everyone has a different perception. Maybe somebody would have seen a comedy movie or some other person would have seen a love story in that. Now, if you are aware, then you will know that if I am seeing it as this, and the other person is seeing it as this, as something else, then it's you. It's your projection on the movie, right? So that's. I mean, I think that's what we can achieve if we are aware of everything around us, just not a movie. It's just an example, right?
Mhm.
Then coming to my question, while we were meditating today, I had the question for first time when we did that 1 minute activity. So you said, Jamin, you said like I'm free of my past and I'm free of my future anxieties. And then I was thinking like I'm here because I want it to be better somehow, like me in a better form. Then can I just detach these two things? Like me being free from the future and sitting here, and then me also thinking about my future, that in some way this will help me be a better me. So yeah, anyone if anyone could answer that question would be.
Anybody wants to answer that question? Right. Why are we here? Why is Jamin doing this? Why are you in this call today? Yeah. Can we look at it before even judging it? Can we look at it completely? Right? Can we just look at it? Why are you here? Are you running away from something? Are you running away from facing your own self? Yeah, Ekta.
Not running away, but yes, definitely to be a better version of yourself. So yeah, I will not say it running away, but maybe to be able to deal uh, life situations in a better way, or yeah, I don't know. But yeah, definitely the thought that I had in my mind was to learn this, so to lead actually a disciplined or a better life. That was the thing that I had.
And then to Piyush's point, maybe when we are doing it for that purpose, are we free? And isn't that ironical from what our practice is? Are you completely here when you say I'm trying to make myself better?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I don't know if Naman Alessandra, you want to answer it. I don't want to answer it because what will happen with an answer? There are two outcomes. Either you agree or you will disagree. What's the use? I
We
don't think
will
there is
get a
any.
different perspective, no? I
Yes,
mean, we
and
will
with a
get some.
different perspective, different found perspective from my answer, is it your truth or is it just your image? Is the you are the mountain? So whatever I say is of absolutely no use. The answer is absolutely of no use is what I see in a bigger picture. But rather, can we stick to this question and inquire with what author says in the silence? Let's do that today. Let's do that today. Yeah. If you are all okay, let's enter the 5 minutes. Let's start today, the 5 minutes, and we improvise
Before
our.
that,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
So, okay. So just want, I mean, I had this thought when you were reading the book. So just wanted to share, which I could not understand. Okay, not really, not understand, but I could not actually agree, or maybe he meant something different. So, for example, we pick up a newspaper. So, what was mentioned in the book was maybe we are running away from our sufferings, or the, I mean, okay, I don't feel as of now, okay, that I'm sad or I am having any suffering, but I do that. Okay, even there is okay, if I read newspaper, and so okay, for example, whenever I am having my breakfast, I will pick up a newspaper and I will start reading it. But yeah, I mean, just like that, I mean, I read a quote from Buddha, like, okay, when you walk, walk, when you eat. So I was thinking, okay, let me try this. And it was also kind of a mindfulness, or making yourself aware of what you're doing. So I thought, okay, I will have my food and I will not read the newspaper. But I'm so used to doing that, that I was feeling some okay, I'm missing an activity, or okay, now I'll have my breakfast. After that, if I'll read newspaper, I mean, I could do it together to avoid time, or to so that I can get some time for different thing. But okay, there is no suffering or there is no sadness. But yeah, this is a habit that I have, which is just
আমার ভালো লাগেনি রাহুলের ভালো
Yeah. Hi, Meghna. Welcome. So I think we are almost reaching the end, Meghna. I'm sorry, but maybe we'll catch up. So Ekta, to that point, what author is trying to tell is the exact feeling, and only you can answer it, right? If that feeling is intentful with awareness, all good. But why did you feel restless while only eating breakfast? Why did
correct.
you want to consume your senses? Why were you lacking that sensory impression? Why did you want to consume a sense of why that uncomfortableness? It was a negative sense, right? Something
Correct.
was. Inquire into it.
Mm.
Inquire into it. It was not that you were having breakfast and you had a very intentful awareness of, oh, I want to know the news. So no, you were feeling something missing
Ah.
because your one of your sense, now your senses were not occupied, which means you were with yourself. Why were you uncomfortable then?
Mm. Yeah.
Maybe that is what he's pointing towards. Maybe that's what he's pointing towards.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else? Ekta? Do you think that makes sense? Let's look at it.
Mm.
Let's touch that next week then.
Yeah.
What happens in
Yeah.
that finding? Yeah. Okay. If no further questions, I think let's enter into our inquiry of 5 minutes based on what Piyush said. So there are two things. One is I want to figure out my intent of being here, and I want to see if with that intent am I completely free. These are the two things I want to see today, right? Because we said I have an intent. I want to become better at handling things, so I'm here. But the author says being free is being now here. If you are in future, you're not free. So it's a very ironical stuff. Let's look at it together and then see if we get something, right? Because otherwise it's just theoretical. Let's test the waters right away with this question. Let's see where we go. It's just experimental, right? So find a comfortable position then and exhale. Then close your eyes or keep it low focused. And let's get started. So with first few breaths, I look at my thoughts. That are happening right now. And I slowly bring my attention to my breath. Breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. Breathing in, I look at my intent in the here and the now. Breathing out, I feel the freedom in the now. Breathing in, I'm aware of my intent. Breathing out, I enter the silence. Then I slowly try to open my eyes and come back to the session. Stretch if you want to feel the space in which you are sitting. Scan your body, see where it is touching the floor, where it is touching the chair. And come back fully to the session. How do you feel?
More relaxed, more clear-headed.
The thoughts have like reduced. Like there are very less thoughts going in my mind.
More clear-headed for sure. But there were some thoughts in my mind today, maybe because we were thinking about the intent. But then I think by the end of it, it's focus on that intent, like what is it and why is it? Something like that.
Yeah, for me also, I mean today there were a lot of thoughts, maybe because of, I mean, yeah, I was also trying to find out the answer. I was thinking about that part, about the intent. Yeah.
Is there a way to observe or ask a question without trying to think of an answer?
Not sure, Jamin, but when we were starting and when we were saying that we will do it with this intent, that time I was thinking I will not do it with that intent. But somehow, it, I don't know. I was thinking more today than other days.
Other days. No,
Okay,
that's
and
the point. Yeah, sorry.
nee, sorry, you go ahead. I was just continuing.
Yeah, no, that's the point. Because we spoke about are we free? For me, then there is a third angle. Then when we say I hear you, do we hear or do we think? So when you have a question, are we hearing for an answer or are we thinking to come up with an answer? And that is where maybe the thoughts increase when you try to do a mindfulness sitting with a question, an intent, and then it's just noisy again. Can we sit with a question and hear freely? Yeah. Do you get what I'm trying to say? What I'm asking?
Yeah, somewhat, but it's still conflicting with my thoughts.
It is. It is conflicting, right? It is. I'm not saying it is conflicting, but the whole thing is, can we inquire into a question psychologically for us? Can we inquire into a question with complete freedom from thoughts? As in, not think of an answer. What is my intent being here? Not think about it.
Then it's not a question. We have already made peace with it.
I think we there was this chapter we read 2 minutes back, and I'll just read that a little bit, and then we stop for today, and we continue on this next time because we all need to find out, right?
Okay.
So the chapter said your deepest concern, right? So when you have been able to still all the noise inside of you, when you have been able to establish silence, a thundering silence in you, you begin to hear the deepest kind of calling from within yourself. Right? That is what we were trying. Well, that is the background of my question.
Okay. Is it something like we're not thinking about it, but still we get the answer? I mean, in
That's what your deepest concern was all about, right? That
I, hmm.
can we, your heart is, and that's why we said, okay, we need space, we need silence, and only from silence can we know the purpose or the deepest concern. And only in that intent of the deepest concern can you find peace, and only in the peace you can find joy, because without peace there is no joy. That was the entire process that we had read. That is what we need to practice when we want to inquire. The intent has to be your deepest concern, your deepest calling. Otherwise, what's the purpose of this group meeting up? It's just another distraction, maybe, right? We are not free then. We are not free then.
So, okay. So for, I mean, yeah, I had thought I will not think about it, but still I was involuntarily, those thoughts were coming. So what I like about this future, like, okay, I mean, why are we here when we should? So it was about future anxieties. Maybe, okay, that's what I was thinking. Okay, need not worry about, okay, whether we will become a better person or not. That thought should not keep worrying us. Rather, just do the right thing and we will automatically reach there. So that was, I mean, that was the what was going on in my mind.
Yeah, that's a valid point. But that thought, if it doesn't allow us to be free, then it's the cyclic stuff that continues, right? That's the whole idea. That was the whole point of discussion today. That this, if there is an intent which is born out of thought and it's not out of your deepest concern, which needs silence anyways, it's a stopper to you to find out the silence and then your purpose. So yeah, but I think I'll stop the recording at least for now. We went a little